everybody. Thanks for joining me in another video. So this is kind of an important one to me. For me, flying a drone is a place of peace and tranquility, form of meditation and out-of-body experience. It's one of the few things that I do every single day where that's the only thing that I'm doing. When I'm doing dishes, I'm watching a YouTube video. When I'm working, I've got Netflix on the side. When I'm talking to a customer, I'm scrolling Instagram. It's what we do. We're always multitasking. We're always having our attention in different places. But when I launch a drone, everything goes into airplane mode. Everything else disappears. And all I'm focusing on is what's going on with that drone. And I find a lot of peace and tranquility from that. So it bothers me that a lot of the feedback that I've been hearing from people online and just in my life is that flying a drone is an incredibly stressful experience for them. I would like to cover 3 shortcuts to help you feel more comfortable flying a drone. Shortcut number 1, there are no f***ing shortcuts. You just have to practice. You have to fly your drone all the time. Think about this. Let's say somebody gave you a car and you drove the car and then you didn't drive again for 6 months. When you hop back in the car, you're gonna feel nervous, right? Why do you feel more comfortable driving a car now than you did the first time you drove? Because you did it again and again and again, and you got the practice and you got the muscle memory. I'm comfortable flying a drone because I fly a drone all the time. DJI, through the Fly app, released this thing last year, basically tells you how much you fly in comparison to all the other people with DJI drones. And I don't remember the exact number, but I'm in the top 6%. So I'm comfortable flying a drone because I fly a drone all the time. I got that muscle memory. Now that muscle memory is a key factor to it. As you've also noticed, I like riding motorbikes. Riding motorbikes in itself is inherently not without danger. So what do? I practice. Any idiot can hop on a motorbike and go forward and go fast. Ah! The true skill is in the boring stuff. So yes, I do hop on motorbikes and go forward really fast sometimes, and boy is it fun. But I also spend hours in parking lots practicing figure eights, practicing tight turns, practicing low speed maneuvers. I download the manual for all of my motorbikes and I go through all of them and I learn what everything means. So when I'm driving down and a warning light comes on, I don't have to freak out and panic and wonder what it means. I know what it means. And it's the same thing with the drone. Master the boring stuff, and when you've mastered the boring stuff, you'll have a greater sense of calm when you're flying it because you know that you know what's going on. Is it fun? No. Is it exciting? No. Is it necessary? If you want the experience of flying a drone to not just be complete terror from the second you take off to the second you land, yes, it's absolutely necessary. Master the boring stuff, peace will come. Tip number 2, or shortcut number 2, whatever you want to call it, preparation. Now for those of you that follow my videos, you know one of my go-to sayings is battery anxiety kills creativity. So I always have at least 4 batteries on me at all times, plus a way to charge them on the road. So when I'm flying, I'm not worrying about running out of batteries. Oh, I gotta get that shot quick. I can play, I can fly around, I can check out new angles, new compositions, fly new flight paths and stuff that I wouldn't normally think of if I'm worried about my batteries dying and then I'm done for the day. So have lots of batteries and a way to charge them on the road. But not only that, beyond that, think to yourself, okay, so flying a drone is not a very physically demanding occupation or hobby. You're typically just sitting in one space for long periods of time. So check the weather before you head out. Is it gonna be a crazy hot day? Make sure you're flying somewhere where you can launch from shade, because sitting in the baking sun for 20 minutes or an hour and a half, it can get to you. And then you're starting to think about your own survival more than you're thinking about what you're seeing on the screen. Bring sunscreen, bring bug spray, bring power bars. I've always got a bunch of power bars in my bag and some Gatorade or water or something like that. So my basic needs are taken care of. If you're in an area with lots of bugs, bring a bug net or a thermocell or something like that. There's nothing worse than sitting down, you launch your drone, and you just get swarmed by this huge pack of mosquitoes, and all you want to do is bring the drone over you and have its wind wash over you to scare away the mosquitoes, but you're not getting any pictures. So be prepared when it comes to that. Also, know the phone number of local airports. If you get a flyaway and you realize that your drone just completely pieced out and it's flying west and you know that there's an airport in that direction, well, it's not only the law, but it's a nice thing to do to call the airport and let them know that there's a flying landmine entering their airspace. By doing all these bunch of small little things, when you sit there and you launch the drone, you're gonna have a much higher peace of mind because you know that the background stuff is all taken care of and all you have to worry about is focus 100% on what's showing up on the screen in front of you. And that, my gosh, man, you tell a painter to sit down and paint a painting, but then you put them in 30°C weather and a storm of mosquitoes, you're not gonna get their best work, right? It's the same thing with this. Make sure that you are safe and comfortable, and then your true creativity can come out. And shortcut number 3, and this is the one that took me the longest to learn, accept. Accept that sometimes shit just is gonna go sideways. Sometimes there's just nothing you can do. Sometimes the wind's gonna pick up. Sometimes I've never had the connection from my drone to my remote disconnect. I've never had it happen in a situation where I didn't understand why it happened. I've had it when I'm flying around an island. I've had it, in situations where I'm like, yep, that makes sense. But I also had everything set up so that when it returned to home, it wouldn't hit anything. But they do sell flyaway insurance, so it must at some point happen. So shit may just go sideways. And that goes back to being prepared. Have the phone numbers of local airports so you can call them and report a flyaway. Know what to do so that if it does go sideways, you're not panicking, you're not freaking out, you're just dealing with the situation. And sometimes you're gonna hit a tree. Sometimes you're gonna be flying over 4 feet over the water, a beautiful sunset reflecting over the pond. You got the silhouette of 4 Canadian geese, and you're just panning around and it looks amazing, and then a goose just comes out of nowhere and smacks into your drone and lands in the water. I know that sounds like an oddly specific story, but it can happen, trust me. When you accept the inevitable that sometimes things just aren't gonna go as planned, when they don't go as planned, well, so I know they're not actually shortcuts, but the problem is the shortcuts that we already have are invisible. 24-minute flight time. That's a huge shortcut. We used to, back in the day, it was like 3-minute flight time. Right now you get the DJI FPV, 20-minute flight time. Anybody that has a homemade FPV, they're getting 4 or 5 minutes if they're lucky, right? That's a shortcut. Being able to lock on to self-stabilization. I've seen my drone run into a wire. It was a clothing line at a friend's house, and it flipped upside down, hit the ground, flipped itself over, flew back up, hit the wire again, flipped upside down, righted itself, and hovered. I flew it over, I landed it. One of the propellers was it was maybe 30% there. Still flew perfectly, still landed perfectly. I swapped out the propeller, everything's fine. That's a shortcut. But we don't see these shortcuts because we're at the starting point. Okay, we don't see the rungs below us on the ladder. We only see the rungs above us and see the benefits that have already been afforded to us. The fact that, hi airplane. A couple of years ago, before you needed licenses and everything to fly the drones, in this very field, there was a huge, huge, huge mud pit back there. So I launched the drone, I put it over the mud pit. Me and my buddy Peter just smashed that mud pit on 4x4s. And we have this amazing footage of us going through and mud flying everywhere. And we didn't have to worry about the drone because the drone was locked onto satellites. And when the drone battery died, it flew and it landed itself in the exact spot where we took off. So we didn't have to worry about watching the battery. That's a shortcut. You want shortcuts to feeling more comfortable while flying a drone? Remember all the shortcuts that have already been afforded to you. And then just be cautious from there. Master the boring stuff, be prepared, and accept the inevitable. But if you do the first two, the third one probably won't happen. All right, that's my video for today. Hope you liked it. Hope you got some cool tips and tricks out of that, something that can make you feel a little bit more comfortable when flying the drone. For me, Like I said, flying the drone it's a time of meditation, time of tranquility. And I would like other people to feel that. I don't want other people that you pull the sticks in to launch it and you're just automatically in a state of fear and you don't breathe again until it lands. If that's the way that I felt riding a motorbike, where the second I hit the start button, my whole body just tensed up and I was like, oh, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna crash, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna crash. And I didn't relax until the second I turned it off. Why would I ever ride motorbikes? So just relax, acknowledge the shortcuts that you already have, prepare, master the boring stuff, and go forward. So, hope you liked this video. Hope you got something useful out of it. If you did, hit that like button down below. It helps the channel a lot. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. Hit that bell, subscribe, all the stuff. You know what you're doing. YouTube's been around for a while. Do the things. If you have any questions, comments, complaints, or concerns, mention them down in the doobly-doo. And I will see you guys in the next video.